What's up, guys? How's it going? I know I haven't uploaded anything in a week, so I'll explain as to why. For many of you, for those of you who are new, I'll just give you the rundown. So, this past January, I lost my grandmother, who was basically like my mother. She helped raise me, and she was like a massive support column in my life. And so I've been navigating grief for the last 3 months now, give or take. And it's been a uphill and downhill battle. I'm going to therapy for it and whatnot, but it still doesn't make the process any easier. I'm sure anybody who's lost somebody understands. Granted, if you've lost somebody who you were significantly close with, it's got a very differing impact than someone who you might have just been, passing, you pass by or whatever. Not to say that that's not, any different, the grief isn't any different, but she raised me, she helped get me through my school, like every single, middle school, high school, college. She supported any of my business endeavors. She supported me when I was freelancing. She supported me when I went through like my mental health crisis. A couple years ago, I was diagnosed with depression, severe depression, anxiety, general anxiety disorder, OCD. And I couldn't work. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't do any of the things that were making me money at the time. So I had to take like a year off and just focus on my mental health. And she was the one who stepped in and supported me and, paid for my food and always made sure that I was covered. So navigating that has been difficult at times, interesting at other times. Lots of laughing, lots of crying, the normal thing. But also on top of that, I get hit with random bouts of depression. And this past week, I kind of went through like, a pretty rough bout of depression. She was sort of my she was my anchor. And I'm sure if you clicked on this video, you're probably like, I just want to watch the knife review. I apologize. I'm just simply explaining where I've been for the people who watch my videos frequently, because there are a bunch of you out there. And for anybody who's new, usually I just get right to the knife, but I'm just filling people in on who I am and what's going on and all that. I'm a human being. I've got a life. I've got shit going on. I'm not just a voice that's talking to a camera to just make you buy shit. I'm not Best Buy, like, I'm not gonna tell you to buy this if you don't like it, you don't like it. I'm just gonna give you my general opinion on this, and you take that for what it's worth and go from there. So anyway, yeah, this past week I went through like a pretty rough depressive episode. Nothing bad. I don't have any like real rough thoughts per se. I just really couldn't get out of bed. Didn't want to do anything. So yeah. But that was why I was gone for like a week or so. Sometimes filming YouTube videos is just way more difficult than doing certain things. Like if I go down to my workshop and I want to, work on a project, sometimes if it's a project that I have to film, then I'm like less likely to work on it because I have to film it too. So sometimes I'll just set aside another project and I'll just work on another project that I'm not filming, just because having two extra tasks when you're depressed makes it that much more difficult to get started. Anybody who has depression I'm sure will understand this. And I also have ADHD, which makes like executive dysfunction is a pain in the ass. So getting started on certain tasks is a fucking nightmare. So when you couple that with depression, it just makes doing things sometimes really difficult, incredibly difficult. So yeah, that's where I've been. It's not that I don't like doing this. It's not that I like being a genuine person on here. There are so many knife YouTube channels, or just YouTube channels in general, that I gotta be honest, annoy the shit out of me. It's just a lot of fluff. I know that it's like entertainment and character and a persona, and I get that. Everybody wants to escape the real world. The real world sucks. I get that. but I'm also just going to be a genuine person. I'm not here to just sell you shit just to sell you shit. I'm going to tell you if something sucks. I'm going to tell you if something's good. I'm going to tell you if it's okay. You can take my opinion with a grain of salt. You can take my opinion as almighty whatever. That's your choice. I'm not saying that that's either or. So, moving on. So yeah, that's where I've been. I apologize for the lack of uploads. That I've just been struggling. I will do my best to make sure that I continue to upload for you guys. I have a ton of knives still that I can review and whatnot. There is a GoFundMe available. It's on the top of my YouTube page, and also it's in the video that's titled "I Need Your Help." If you want to go check that out, it explains everything. Anyway, okay, so this is the CJRB Tundra. This is the premium version. They make a budget version with, I think it's D2 blade steel and G10 scales. I will double check. While we're hanging out together, shooting the shit, let's see here. CJRB knives. I will say my one complaint is I think CJRB does a great, they do a great job in the EDC space. Hold on, let me see if I can find specifically the Tundra. I was gonna revolve. Jesus fucking Christ! I was gonna review the double tap, but I sold out of them all, and then I just never bought more. So let me just check out because okay. So you have two options with the Tundra, right? The Tundra, you get the more budget-friendly edition, which is D2 blade steel and G10 scales. The G10 comes in OD green and black. Both very nice. You still get the micro milling, still get the lockout pin to make it a fixed blade. I don't know if the lockout pin is titanium or not. I know this is all titanium. You know, it's actually a really good question. I wonder if it is titanium. Does it tell you if the lockout pin is titanium? I mean, that's great that you tell me the pocket clip is steel. That's fucking helpful. I don't care about the pocket clip. I want to know about the lockout pin. I'm gonna punch myself in the dick, I swear to God. Why can't you just tell me all the important information I need? Okay, here we go. Nope, doesn't tell me. I'm gonna assume it's either steel or titanium. One of the two. On the budget version. So I guess take that with a grain of salt, however you choose. I'm looking at their website right now and they don't specify, because why would you want to do that? Why would you want to be helpful? Anyway, what I was gonna say was I think CJRB is a great company. My problem with them is this: all their budget stuff is all the same fucking metal. And don't get me wrong, it's a good metal, but the problem is a lot of people who are getting into knives, or maybe have been into knives for a while but maybe aren't familiar with CJRB. CJRB uses a proprietary steel called RPM 9. I think I've talked about this in another video. I don't know if I've talked about it as in depth, but RPM 9 is their proprietary steel. It's similar to 9CR18 Mauve, which is a stainless steel. Great steel. Anything like CR Mauve is fantastic steel. Don't get me wrong. Really it is. But there are a lot of people who just don't understand what that is, because it's not labeled that, right? It's not labeled 9CR18 Mauve or 7CR18 Mauve, whatever, you know, like what most people are used to looking for. They see RPM 9 and they're like, well, what the hell is that? And most of their budget-friendly knives are all RPM 9, which, don't get me wrong, again, that's great. It's awesome. It allows you to adjust prices accordingly. It allows you to offer budget-friendly options, whatever. But it's also confusing for a lot of people, because most people, and this is no shade towards anybody, a lot of people won't do research to figure out what RPM 9 is. They'll just go, oh, it's probably not a very good steel, and they'll just move on with their day. Not necessarily saying that's everybody, but I'm sure that there's a group of people who will do that. If you're more likely to use steels that are known by name, then I feel like they'll do better. I could be wrong. I'm not a marketing expert, but it's just one of my annoyances. They come out with all these really nice designs and then they're all RPM 9. It's like, why? Just do like D2 or like 14C, or I mean, fuck, do like 5CR or something. If you really want to make a budget friendly knife, just, or 10CR, who cares? Anyway, that's my problem with them. Anyway, but kudos to them for doing the double tap and the Tundra, because the double tap and the Tundra, as far as I'm aware, I know the double tap is for sure. I don't know about the Tundra. I'm going to assume, so I could make a fucking fool of myself. But the Tundra is currently their, or not Tundra, sorry, the double tap is currently their best-selling model, which is fantastic. Good for them. I really do like their products. I really do like their knives. I'm not giving them shit just to give them shit. I'm just saying that from a consumer standpoint, from someone who like entered into the knife world and I, found their brand and I was like, what in the fuck is RPM 9? And I had to do some digging and research to figure it out. Some people just aren't going to do that, They're just not. Some people just won't. And you just have to come to terms with that. Anyway, back to the whole, sorry, little tangent there, got a little annoyed. Anyway, so this is S35VN Blade Steel, all titanium. So this thing is massive. I believe that the weight of this comes out to a little over a pound. I'm gonna double check. Apparently these are a limited edition, which I did not know. Huh. I was not aware of that. That's very interesting. I was not aware. Very, very, very interesting. So let's see. Okay, so S35VN Blade Steel. I might actually keep this. I was originally going to sell it, but maybe I'll keep it. I don't know. It's got a flat grind. Its HRC hardness is 60 to 62. It's a drop point. Again, all of it is titanium, so handle, clip. I'm assuming the backs, the standoffs are titanium. I don't know if it says it. Does it say? Pivot is ceramic ball bearings. It is obviously a frame lock. Overall length is almost 9 inches. If you want the exact, it's 8.82. Close length is 5.04, or just 5 inches. And it weighs, oh, I was wrong. It doesn't weigh almost a pound. I'm an idiot, so disregard that. It weighs just over 9 ounces at 9.17 ounces. But it feels like a pound. You could probably hit somebody with this and knock them out. You don't even need to deploy the blade. You could literally just smack somebody in the forehead with this and knock them out. This thing is girthy. I did not know this was a limited edition knife. That's pretty rad. Overall, my overall thoughts of it. Let's see. I definitely like the minimalist aspect of it. It's designed like a tank. It looks very tank-esque, which I dig. I'm always a huge fan of frame locks. It's got really, really nice blade drop. Super nice blade drop. I love the I just love the overbuiltness of it. I wish that there were more knives on the market that had an overbuilt aesthetic. I know it's not for everybody, but I really enjoy it. It's just a nice aesthetic. I think my only complaint, and this is just a personal one, this has nothing to do, this isn't any negative thing toward the knife itself. I'm not a huge fan of clip point blades. It could just be the way that this one is, just because it's got this like swedge up here at the top. I'm not a huge fan of that personally. If it didn't have that swedge up at the top, I probably wouldn't mind it as much. That's just a personal thing. Does it impact the blade? No. It looks like it was stonewashed. I don't know if you guys can see. There you go. speckles on it, so it was probably stone washed from the factory. I didn't do that. Let's see. I really like the pocket clip that it just. There are a lot of companies I feel like chintz out on pocket clips. I feel like the pocket clip is, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. You guys tell me your thoughts. I feel a lot of companies don't think through the pocket clip design. It just kind of, it's like a last second thought or a last minute thought. And I like how different and unique it is. I also like the fact that they used some very interesting hardware for this. I think that's, I don't know, kudos to them. I like when companies do different shit. I like when people don't follow the same formula. They change things up. They work outside the box. I enjoy that. When a company follows the same cookie cutter format, it's just boring, man. Like you need to continue to innovate in the EDC space and make something new and push the envelope, because otherwise the second you start to settle and stagnate, the second you're not literally speaking, but the second your business has died, your consumer pool is going to start dwindling. I mean, look at all the shit that Benchmade's going through right now. I will say that kudos to Benchmade for making newer models that definitely have a better design appeal, but they're still struggling. So, I'll just leave it like that. I will. So apart from the blade, which is just personal thing, I really love Wharncliffe blades. I like cleavers. And I like reverse tontos and tontos in general. I don't mind clip points, but I think it's the swedge at the top that's really bothering me. I just don't like the profile of it. But the clip point itself is really nice. It feels good in the hand. I will say that if you're gorilla gripping the shit out of this for a long period of time, if you don't have a lot of meat on your hands, I have relatively skinny hands technically. I think over time, you'll start to feel it. It'll start to dig into your hand if you're using this for some like hard laborious tasks. I could be wrong. But that's just me, really giving it a good squeeze, really feeling. It's not awful, but it's not amazing either. If you wear gloves, I don't see there being a problem, but it definitely, I could see hot spots happening in your hands if you're using this for a long period of time. More so at the bottom here. If some of this was like more rounded off, a little less aggressive, probably wouldn't be the end of the world. But yeah, that's just such an aggressive angle. I don't know if you guys can see that. It doesn't seem like it, right? But if you're holding this and you're really hammering away at something, it definitely digs into your fingers. If you have a little more meat on your fingers, probably won't be too much of an issue. But for me, I know for a fact that would start to hurt the padding on this finger and my middle finger. Jimping's okay. I mean, it's jimping. It's not very aggressive. It's there. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like it's just kind of there for decoration. It doesn't really feel like it's doing anything. If you wear gloves, I could see it being more beneficial. Probably get more grip on the material, but if your hands are sweaty, your finger's just gonna slide up and down this. Like my thumb's already sweaty just in general, and it's just sliding up and down on this. I already know this knife is sharp, so there's really no reason for me to do like a cut test with it. Most of CJRB's knives are pretty sharp from the factory. So let's see. Thumb studs are really nice. I like how overbuilt they are. So so you can get a really nice, a really nice reverse flick on it. I will say it is scale of 1 to 10. Say it's like a 4 or 5. I'll say it's a 5 on the reverse flick, not because of the detent, but just the weight of the blade. So if you have a weaker hand, if you're someone who, you know, works like manual, if you're someone who's older, or you've had, you know, some sort of injury to your hand and you just have you lack hand strength, you probably won't be able to reverse flick this, or you might struggle to reverse flick it. One of the two, just due to the weight of the blade. It's certainly doable. And now if you incorporate like a movement with your wrist, I could see that you'd be able to reverse flick it or spidey flick it, however you want to choose. I'm trying to not hit I have my monitor right here. There's not a lot of room between my monitor and the knife, but yep. Deploying it with your thumb, pretty straightforward and easy. It's very snappy deploying it with the flipper. No issues. Blade centering. I think it's center. Hold on, let me look without looking through the camera. Yeah, it's centered. It's pretty spot on. And then you get the lockout pin, which is titanium, and this paracord. I'm assuming this is paracord. Feels like paracord. Overall thoughts. It's a cool knife. I think the deal breaker for me personally is the blade. It just doesn't really do much for me. I love all this milling. I love the way it looks. It's just an overbuilt tank. I love that aspect of it. But the blade just kind of... I know this is an aesthetic. That's from an aesthetic standpoint, because at the end of the day, this is a tool, right? You know, who's going to give a shit about what the blade looks if you're just using it to, you know, cut zip ties, open boxes, cut down boxes. You know, maybe you use it to cut down, you know, cut through some thick, like, I don't know, 3/16 branches, or, you know, 1/4-inch branches or whatever. Who's gonna give a shit about what the blade looks like? But from an aesthetic standpoint, if you're a collector, because this is a limited edition knife, I'm not a huge fan of the blade. I don't know. This was a $300 knife. I think when it came out, if you weren't getting it from their site, you're getting it from like an online dealer, I think it was like $230, $240, something like that. I think it's worth it. I think it's worth it from a collecting standpoint. If you're someone who's like, I'm just looking for a knife that's, you know, that's tough, it's badass, that'll, you know, do shit day to day that I need it to do. You know, you need to just do hardcore tasks, normal knife tasks like opening things, cutting things, whatever. But you also maybe want to do some like light bushcraft work, but you want to use a folder. Obviously, because some areas in the country you can't use fixed blades. You can't carry fixed blades. I don't know if this would be like the go-to for like just the average Joe who just wants to carry an EDC. You know, I'm not saying it isn't. If you can find these and you want to drop the money on it, then sure, go for it. But I feel like it might bother your hands after a while. If you're gonna go that route, I think you're probably just better getting like a cold steel like 8010 light, or the cold steel 8010, or the 80, you know, just something from Cold Steel, something that's a little more meant for what you're looking for. That's probably what I'd recommend. But if you're, you know, absolutely insistent on something like that, you want one really nice EDC, or maybe like you have a beater EDC and then you want like a really nice EDC that, I don't know, that for whatever reason, then sure, yeah, go for it. Is this a must buy for me? If I didn't have this in inventory, I probably wouldn't have bought it. Yeah, no. From a collecting standpoint, yes, I could see it being worthwhile. Because there are people who are massive CJRB fans, and if it is limited edition, I'd have to double check. I'm just going off of what it says on the site. Then yeah, it's probably worth it, because you get this. It's an asset, right? Knives are assets. Some of them will cure value, some of them will devalue. It's just a matter of how it works, like supply and demand. Yeah, if I didn't have this in inventory, just because I was selling knives, I probably wouldn't have bought this. I definitely think it's just the aesthetic of the blade, for me personally, which I know sounds a little ridiculous, because at the end of the day, it's a tool. Let's all be real with ourselves. It's a tool. It's a knife that's going to cut things. It's going to get you out of a bind if you're in a bind for something, yada yada yada. But I'm just trying to be as realistic as possible. It is S35VN Blade Steel, by the way. I don't know if I even said that. I think I did. So stainless steel, which is great. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. It's cool. It would be a cool conversation piece, if I could see that being a thing. I could definitely see that being a thing. But yeah, is it in my opinion, is it a must buy? 1 to 10, 10 being absolutely, 1 being no, just whatever. I'd give it I'll rate it in 2 different ways. So is it a must buy for average Joe EDC guy who just wants a knife that does things? I give it like a 4 out of 10. There are better knives on the market that are just as overbuilt for a lower price that will do what you want, if not better. We'll just leave it like that. From a collector standpoint, if it is as limited as they say, it's sold out. I don't know if it's sold out through like distributors, like inventory, just like secondary inventory distributors. Then I would say it's like 7.5 out of 10, 8 out of 10, something like that, from a collecting standpoint. Because then you could also get this like anodized if you wanted to. Although I don't know how much that matters on the secondary market. Like if it's not OEM, I don't know how much people would want it. If it's already got like some kind of custom finish on it, I don't know. I was actually thinking about anodizing this, but now I might not even bother. So it's not. I'm not like wildly impressed with this. I think it's a cool knife, but I'm not wildly impressed with it. Well, I gotta sneeze. Okay, or not. Oh god. Wait. My body gaslit me. Holy shit. Okay. Yeah, I'm not wildly impressed with it. I think it's a cool knife, but it's certainly not something I'd go out of my way to spend the money to own. Like I have so many other knives that I've reviewed. I just had it in inventory because I bought it because it's like, oh, it's something new. People might want it there. But again, kudos to CJRB for stepping up to the plate, do something different. I think that was a good idea. I hope they continue to do that. I never wish ill will towards knife brands in the EDC market. I just want there to not be stagnation. I want brands to continue to evolve and challenge other brands, because when you have one brand that's doing all this crazy shit and all these other brands fall behind, then it doesn't actually become a monopoly, but then it starts to feel like it becomes a monopoly, because then it's like, well, that brand starts to excel and everybody just buys that brand, and then all you hear is that brand. And that's my opinion, so take that for however you choose. But I like when When you have competition, competition breeds competition, and that's a good thing. I think the knives that are coming out in this current market, in this current EDC space, are fantastic, and it's going to continue, and there's some really cool things that have come out already, and there are really cool things that are coming, so I'm sure. So yeah, that's the review. I hope you guys liked it. It's like a 30-minute review. I'm trying to be a little more in-depth with these, because obviously I don't take these knives out and like beat them and abuse them. I'd love to do that. I just don't have the budget to do it. So yeah, I already know that this knife would do the normal hard tasks of like normal knife shit, but if you're gonna go out and stab like a car door with it, or like stab a windshield with it or whatever, it might do fine, it might not, I don't know. I'm certainly not gonna pretend that it's gonna be like the best fucking knife ever. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the review. I appreciate your understanding if you guys, didn't skip the beginning of the video. If you did skip the beginning of the video, I get it. Some of this shit was probably boring, but hey, I'm just being personal and explaining to you that I'm a human being, and I got a life and I have shit going on, and yeah. Anyway, that is that. So I will see you guys in the next video. I have a video that's like a teaching educational video coming up. I have to edit it together. It's gonna be like, I was gonna put it all out in one thing, but it would be like an hour and 40 minutes, and I don't know if anybody really wants to sit through like 1 hour and 40-minute video. So I'll probably just put it out in chunks, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. I mean this with all the love in the world, but so many people these days have like the attention span of a gnat or a houseplant, that if I put it out in an hour and 40 minutes, I don't think a lot of people would enjoy it. So hey, I get it. So I'll try and put it out in like small segments. So yeah, I don't know. Or I'll just say fuck it and put it all out at once, and then whatever happens, happens. But it's me working on customizing and anodizing a knife and just talking through the process. So I'll see you guys in the next video. I think the next video is going to be a review video, or it's going to be a custom video. I don't know. Well, surprise, surprise. Anyway, have a good one, guys. Take care. Be kind to yourself. Eat some good food. Stay hydrated. And yeah, see you later.